A big win in Baton Rouge, then a long trip home to Seattle, but it is home sweet home for the Huskies. Washington plays its final non-conference game before opening Pac-10 play on the weekend. This afternoon, Idaho State pays a call on the Bank of America Arena in Seattle. Hello again, Happy New Year with Coach Bob Weiss. I'm Brian Davis. Some people thought the Huskies might not need an airplane to fly home, Bob, after a rousing comeback against LSU.
And one of the reasons they felt so good was Quincy Pondexter, 17 points, 5 rebounds. That's the way they need him to play in Big Ten competition.
Pondexter really coming off the bench and stepping up, having his best game since Syracuse very early in the season. In the Bengals of Idaho State, a top 25 team, that's as in strength of schedule. They play one of the toughest cards in the NCAA.
Yeah, they sure do. And there's two things that does for you. It makes your team better by playing against better competition. Also, it's a good recruiting tool to show a kid, you know, these are the cities we're going to go to.
Joe Green, their coach, says what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. What's been helping to kill the opponents? Washington's defensive-oriented starting lineup. Tim Morris played strong at Baton Rouge with this mask on his face. Some guys don't like the hardware. He broke his nose in practice last week. The coach, Lorenzo Romar, says, hey, the mask doesn't bother the tough guy. Tip-off next in Seattle. College basketball on FSN, brought to you by Quest, the spirit of service. Washington trailed by as many as 16 points, and they put the clamps on LSU, holding the Tigers without a point the first 7 minutes of the second half, en route to an 8-point victory. And the starting lineup for Washington includes a defensive look, not only with Tim Morris, but Joel Smith, giving Lorenzo Romar some good perimeter defense that he didn't have a year ago.
Yes, he likes his team, and that's how he chose his starting lineup, by defense and how they worked in practice.
For Romar, a bellwether game. Can his guys come out and play as methodically as they did in the second half at LSU to take care of a lesser opponent, Idaho State, out of the Big Sky Conference? The Bengals last year made the conference tournament, but rebuilding after 4 seniors graduated. Keep an eye on Austin Kilpatrick. He is out of Puyallup High School here in the Puget Sound area. Joe O'Brien went to the Big Sky tournament in his first season. He's mixing up new guys, heavy on the sophomores. This is a man who at Southeast Iowa, in Burlington, Iowa, was a 3-time national junior college champion. This O'Brien's second season at Idaho State. Bengals coming off of a victory over the Northwest Junior College side, Northwest Nazarene, on Saturday in Pocatello. Ryan Appleby got a chance to play at the hall his hero helped to build. Appleby, a huge Pete Maravich fan. The skip pass across. Smith takes a step inside, floats one along the baseline. The putback, is that going to be Brockman's basket? We think it belongs to 40, the captain, John Brockman.
And they came out in Idaho State came out in the zone, and of course one of the things that you worry about in the zone is blocking out the big men, and of course on a missed shot they got the offensive rebound.
Artem Wallace is given credit for the basket, the putback. Washington strong, one of the best in the Pac-10, the best statistically on the offensive glass. You take a look at the series history, went all the way down to the wire in 1993, the last meeting. That was Bob Bender's first victory as coach at the University of Washington by 1 point. Brockman puts it on the floor, floats it over a double team. The rebound, and in transition, here comes Matt Stuckey, the junior out of Century High School in Pocatello. Bodied up by Appleby. Stuckey, nice move to start around the corner, then inside to the Dutchman Lucas Stein. Left-handed, he scores.
Good score. I got to see that one again, though, to think it's going to happen a lot. That almost looked like a fling. He was a little off balance.
Stein is an Olympic track player out of the Netherlands. Inside, the pass tipped and thrown away essentially by Joel Smith in transition, driving Amaro Morgan, sophomore out of Memphis, Tennessee. Morgan is going to go for a couple of free throws. Free throws, one of the things he does well.
They're going to take it on the side. In the NBA, he'd be shooting an and one, but
I was gonna say,
because he did pick the ball up, I thought pretty close to being in his motion when he got fouled.
Well, they had a better view of it than we did, Coach.
Well, I'm used to watching the other one, too.
Here's Morgan. A couple of free throws late in the Idaho game, sent that game to overtime, and is one of Idaho State's 3 victories on the season. Washington has been holding opponents to 1 and done. Nice pass out. Morris looking for Appleby. Puts the move on Stuckey and just a little bit short the rebound to Kilpatrick, the sophomore out of Puyallup.
I thought Appleby forced that one a little bit. He usually doesn't do that. Most of the time when he gets one, it's a clean look. Sometimes it's quick and the hand will be out, but he was a little off balance on that shot. Uncharacteristic.
Washington playing that matchup zone. Morgan gets everything but the finish. Brockman gets in the way. Wallace collects the rebound. Appleby in transition. Again, the last 5 games, the Huskies have gone with a starting lineup that does not include the 2 men considered to be their point guards in Dentman and Overton, but Smith from 3, good ball rotation, and Joel Smith, who doesn't take a lot of shots, with a good finish.
No, that was but he was wide open. He caught it in his rhythm. That is the kind of 3-point shot you want, and you got to give a lot of credit to the passer. That thing was on the money, just like it had to be. Great delivery.
Doesn't take a lot of shots, but he's 54% overall and from 3. So he makes the most of it.
A lot of pressure here early. A lot of man-to-man, hard pressure.
Appleby making Kilpatrick work for it. Brockman coming off a 15 and 12 game with a ripping rebound, and then Appleby in transition finds Morris underneath. Offensive foul is going to be called.
I always hate those when you get called for a foul because you didn't get out of the way fast enough. You're traveling backwards.
Quincy Pondexter checks in, taking Wallace's place in Washington's lineup. Let's take a look at the missed opportunity. A little bit of misfortune. Started with great one-on-one defense by Appleby.
And good rebound by Brockman. He had to get that one in traffic.
Morris. Stuckey got back in time to set his feet. Did a nice job of drawing the charge, and Appleby trying to get a piece of that one off the hand of Kilpatrick. Here's Morgan reversing, switching hands, getting it back. Air ball ripped down by Morris. Washington loves to push the pace in transition. That's something that Romar wants to see more of. If the shot is there beyond the arc, you take it. Appleby, a couple of weeks ago, tied a school record with 7 triples in a game. Hits his 2nd of the afternoon.
And they rotated hard to him, had the hand up, but when Appleby's in his rhythm and has just that half a second to get it off, he does it. Had his feet in good position that time.
Stein having some trouble finding some options that, if Brockman was a half step closer, would have been a held ball. Stuckey to the rack, and the rebound by Morris. Idaho State has missed its first 7 shots from the floor here this afternoon. Appleby this time for Smith, a little bit long. Pondexter has the rebound taken away from him by the Dutchman Stein.
Yeah, Stein's little hook was the only one they've made.
Stuckey off the backboard. 8 consecutive misses now for Idaho State. Washington asserting itself at the defensive end of the floor. An early 6-point lead for the Dogs. Opponents have been hitting 3-point shots at a 43% clip over Idaho State's zone. Washington with 2 3-pointers, their first 3 field goals in an early 6-point lead, Bob Weiss.
Well, if they stay in that zone, they're probably going to get a lot of those, but I think they're going to have to double team down below anyway, so I think 3-pointers are going to be there today. First
Full weekend of Pac-10 play, and we have got 4 of those games for you, plus a little bonus in Georgia Gonzaga. Of course, the Seahawks will be playing down in the phone booth. The Washington Redskins in town for an NFC wild card playoff. So we expect that those middle games might be a little light in terms of attendance, but we also expect that everybody will be back for the nightcap on our broadcast day. The Apple Cup of basketball. Washington State with a 5-game winning streak over the Huskies. They'll play here on the campus of the University of Washington. 7 o'clock Saturday night on FSN. Great ball movement, and Morris floating it down for the finish. 5 games started for Morris now. He's been averaging 12 points and 5 rebounds.
Well, he's just been so steady lately, too. And he gives you all the little things you want. He gives you defense. He can come up with 4 assists or come up with 4 rebounds a night. He's just a good all-around player out there.
8 straight field goals missed, but then Lucas Stein with the hook shot. He's the only guy on the scoreboard right now for the Bengals.
And I said I wanted to see a couple more before I believed that hook. I believe it now.
Morris launching from 3 and dropping from 3. Tim Morris, 7 out of 12, 5 boards, 3 assists, 15 points. And oh yeah, 3 steals on Saturday at Louisiana State.
They'll help you every place.
Brockman, Pondexter, Appleby, Morris, and Justin Denton, the sophomore out of the junior out of Carbondale, Illinois, now on the floor for Washington. Pondexter overplays, nearly forces a steal, and then commits the foul. Pondexter with the 17-point game at LSU, where the PA announcer kept calling him Poindexter. Well, he wasn't mispronouncing his name down there. You get in the car and go to Voigt.
See here, Morris hits that shot. Great pass by Ryan Appleby. And again, it's right on the money, right when your feet are set. You're stepping into the shot. Makes it a high percentage shot when that pass is right where you want it.
Washington has assists on 3 of their 4 field goals, and those 3 are all the 3-pointers.
Yeah.
Stuckey looking inside the floater for Demetrius Monroe, the sophomore out of San Diego, California, coming off a double-double, 16 points and 12 boards against Northwest Nazarene on Saturday night.
He did a nice job of pulling up short there. Caught the ball. Pondexter was in place for a charge call, but nice pull up, good jump shot.
Overton did a nice job of finding Brockman in the low post, but then a couple of opportunities on the tip. Brockman can't finish as the Dogs steal it again, but John Brockman will go to the free throw line.
Nice pass by Morris. First of all, he picks up the loose ball, spots Brockman, boom. Has to be quick to get it there.
Free throw line has been an adventure for Brockman, who on Christmas Eve was for the 2nd time this week named, or this season, named Pac-10 Player of the Week on charity. He is shooting 57%, makes his first here, and he has gotten a little bit better over the last couple of weeks from the time that we saw him. What was that, in the Long Beach State game, where it seemed like he couldn't buy one, and the Huskies only made 9 out of 26 that night.
Yeah, he shot those 2 well. He's been talked to about standing straighter, and I think he's taking a little of that bend out of his shot.
Overton tipping the basketball out of bounds, as again Washington is making it very difficult for Idaho State to get anything going here offensively. Bengals off to a 3 of 11 start from the floor.
Well, Coach Romar, one of the things he wants to concentrate on is lower field goal percentage, but this Idaho State team only shoots 40% from the field normally.
Stuckey, nice find inside as Monroe loses Tim Morris for the easy basket off the feed from Stuckey. Brockman along the baseline knocks it down. That's something that we're seeing a little bit more of from Brockman's arsenal.
Well, he's always had a lot of confidence in that shot, and I've always thought he shot it well. That's why I don't think he should be a bad free throw shooter. When you see him shoot the jump shot, he's got a nice motion.
Brockman and Morris back up. Stuckey off balance. Brockman's rebound. Pondexter can't hang on to it. Pondexter had 17 points at LSU. 10 had been his high game since he had 20 in the Syracuse game. He'd only been averaging 6 shots a game before Saturday in Baton Rouge. And Amoro Morgan rattling one down. Idaho State with its first 3-point goal. Brockman turning, missing everything. Pondexter can't hang on to it. Out of bounds to the Bengals, and now Washington playing a little scrambling.
Yeah, and a nice double team there to put pressure on Brockman's one-on-one move.
Washington opened up with some stout defense, but Idaho State has made 4 of its last 5 shots. The Bengals have scored on their last 4 possessions.
Watch this defense. Watch Brockman come over here to close out. Now he says, I got to get back all the way across the lane into rebounding position on the weak side. That is hard to teach. And here's another phase of his game. Bang.
Brockman averaging a double-double, 19 points, 11 rebounds, as we take a look at the game story. And You see the number I was going to point out, Bob, 4 points, 3 boards in the first 8 minutes for the captain, John Brockman, with Bob Weiss, Brian Davis at the Bank of America Arena. Washington playing its final non-conference game before bringing the Cougars of Washington State into the building on Saturday night. We'll have it right here on FSN. Make it 5 out of the 6s. Cron Tatum, the sophomore out of Atlanta, Georgia, spins and drops one to make this a 4-point game. Overton on the floor, changed his mind, looked like he was going to shoot. Pondexter not quite ready for the pass as Overton bailed out, but then the ball is tipped away off Idaho State.
Idaho State's done a good job of staying in this game, because I thought you know, after going 1 for 11 and the defensive pressure by University of Washington, they've stuck around.
Dentman travels with the basketball as he starts his move, started to turn the corner around the coach's son, Corey O'Brien. So a turnover for Washington. It's the Huskies' first of the basketball game. Check that. 3 straight now. I think I need to increase the power on these glasses. Donnie Carson looking inside for Corey O'Brien, out of control. Dentman with the rebound.
Nice backdoor cut, but boy, Wallace did a terrific job of filling in over there, making that a tough shot.
Pondexter lets it go. Took 19 shots against Syracuse, 15 at LSU. Mentioned that he had been averaging 6 a game. I don't know if that was a matter of confidence, what. That was his first field goal attempt of the night. Joel Smith looking inside for Wallace, and the flush for the big guy from Toledo, Washington.
You'll see that again on the left side here. Smith makes a nice draw and kick.
Smith with a couple of assists. He's been averaging 3 or 4 games since he's come back into the starting lineup. And then Morgan is called for a travel. Turnovers have been a problem for Idaho State. They've played this murderer's row of Pac-10, Big Ten, Big West, Mountain West opponents, and they've been giving up in those games, most of them 20 or more points off of turnovers.
Well, and tonight they're seeing probably the team that pressures you the most and tries to take you out, puts the best weak side rotation against you. So they're going to be tested with that tonight.
Lorenzo Romar has got to be happy with the fact that his team is now forcing 17 turnovers a game, and a great pick by Wallace on Stein. The big man springs Overton like Moses, parting the Red Sea to the lane to the bucket.
And I think what happened was that he got beat away from the pick, and when that happens, the big man that's setting the pick, his man is out of position to help.
Kilpatrick, who led the South Puget Sound League's South Division as a high school senior, 25 game, knocks down a shot. 5-point advantage for Washington. Wallace goes to work on Stein, and he's going to go to the free throw line. That was a nice move. Wallace showing some quicks on the baseline.
He has definitely improved with his poise and movement. Well, I think Stein brings his arms down here. Just brought his arm down a little. It's a reflex action.
Free throws for the big men, an issue at the University of Washington. Wallace now on the season 1 out of 9. But if you look at the high side, this is his 5th consecutive start, and he's been averaging 19 minutes, shooting 50% from the floor. Now, mind you, that 3 attempts a game, you want him to finish, because the free throw line's an adventure. The putback finally goes for Brockman off his 4th rebound of the game. Brockman with 6 points.
We'll give an assist to Wallace there, because whenever there's a miss, Brockman thinks it's a pass to him.
You got to have that mentality that you own it inside, don't you?
He does.
Cron Tatum gets a little bit scrambling. Looks for help and kicked basketball. And it belongs to Washington. Not exactly the prettiest sequence, but it pays off for the Huskies.
Well, good hustle. They always get on the floor. I'm surprised Brockman was still standing after this exchange. Usually he's going to jump on the floor just because he's jealous of the other guys being down there.
4th turnover for Idaho State. Overton going the other way and not getting the rub that he did the last time from Wallace. And Brockman setting up in the high post, and his pass is tipped away.
Double team, slow double team, and good hands in that. escape pass.
Kilpatrick charged with the offensive foul.
Brockman gets it right back.
4 turnovers now on the Bengals' last 5 possessions.
There he is filling in from the weak side. And Coach Romar is the strongest coach in the league, I think, at teaching that weak side defense.
Joe O'Brien, the Idaho State coach, has asked for a 30-second timeout as he wants his guys to get a little bit more organized. They have been in this game. It's a team that has lost to Iowa, Brigham Young, Long Beach State, Portland, Oregon State, Boise State, Washington State, Utah, UCLA. They were in the Utah game till about 10 minutes remained in the second half, and then Utah got onto a little bit of a run, and that wound up being a 17-point advantage, but they can hang with them.
Yeah, that's been their Achilles heel. They just hit a short stretch where they don't play well. And when you're playing against a superior team, they usually pull away from you. I guarantee you that during that huddle right there, he was talking to them again about, look, this team fills in from the weak side. When you back cut or when you drive, somebody's going to be there. You got to make the adjustment.
Thursdays will be big during college basketball season on FSN. Oregon State at Arizona, UCLA at Stanford in HD. And then College Hoops Northwest as the Pac-10 season begins for real. With 5 more games here on the network on Saturday, including Washington State at Washington, 7 o'clock the nightcap. Denton catches and just misses off the front iron. Wallace an offensive rebound. Washington averages 16 offensive boards a game. Overton left alone. Rattles it down. Looked good coming out of his hand.
He's getting more and more confidence on that. Early in the season, he was shooting in the 20s, but I think he's definitely bringing that up. He's had some great games from 3.
38% overall now, Bob, and he's shooting 33%, 1 out of 3 from beyond the arc. Time taken, 8 minutes remaining, not quite a 10-point lead now. Huskies starting to bump it up. Good ball movement always helps you out. 7 assists on 10 made field goals for Washington. So what's in a name? Idaho State has had a few of them since the turn of the last century. Started out as the Academy of Idaho. What do you think they'd think in Pullman of calling Washington State the University of Washington Eastern Branch? And they also have some athletic tradition in Pocatello. You take a look at a team in 1977 that took out Gene Bartow and I believe a top-ranked UCLA team, only to fall in the regionals. 1 win from the Final 4 they were before UNLV took them out. A couple of boxing titles as well. The Sweet Science. Did you ever box? My dad, God bless him, tried to teach me, but I discovered very early on that I do not like pain. Shot clock's about to run out. Stuckey's going to have to launch from about 40, and it's an air ball.
Actually had an uncle that was a heavyweight, fought Schmeling.
Stuckey leading the Bengals at 12 points a game, but the air ball, here's how it's gone since the beginning. Washington getting a lot more opportunities.
Well, they are. They're getting the offensive boards, and then you add the turnovers in there. And Stuckey he's struggling against the athleticism of the defensive guards from the University of Washington.
Smith thought about trying to reach out and grab that ball, but since it was off of a Bengals defender, nice decision to let it go. And now Wallace sits down, and Joel Smith, the junior out of Lompoc, California, will inbound to a group that now includes the freshman Matthew Bryan Amonick from London, England, by way of prep school in Connecticut.
We're seeing another boxing one on Appleby here. There's a zone. There's a zone with 1 man guarding Appleby.
Look at the give and go. Smith can't finish it as he really shot up deep into a double team. Brockman battling along the baseline for a held ball possession. Arrow favors Idaho State, but he comes away laughing because he was getting just a little bit feisty down there with Cron Tatum.
You know, we can watch next time down and see if they're in that boxing one again. It's an interesting defense. It's the second time that Appleby has faced this, a zone with 1 man playing him man-to-man.
The numbers we showed you, the more recent numbers for Idaho State, frankly, not as good as they looked in the aggregate. And Brockman again giving Tatum all he can handle. Shot clock violation the last time up the floor. Washington scored 7 points off of Idaho State turnovers. Here's Stein working on Brian Ammoning, and that hook shot this time right-handed won't fall. Brockman with his 5th rebound. Smith, look good.
Nothing but net.
Found nothing. Yeah, at the bottom of the net.
Yeah, I guess that's the difference anyway.
Oh, look at Brockman with the finish. It gives a little love to Benoit Overton as they come back up the floor. The freshman out of Franklin High School in Seattle, showing us why he was the state 4A player of the year last season.
Dribbled in, looked the other way to throw the defense off, and then made the pass.
Stuckey off to an 0 for 4 start from the floor. Not good when your leading scorer, the only guy in double figures, is off to that. But there is his first of the afternoon from beyond the 3-point arc. Stuckey with 3, and the Bengals now back within 9 points.
And that was also his first good look.
Overton left alone. Don't want to leave a guy that long, that open for that long.
Well, when you're playing that box and one,
look at that.
Somebody's going to be open, but nice play there.
Stuckey to Morgan to Tatum for a sweet finish in transition. Time taken by Lorenzo Romar in Washington.
How you run the break.
7 points now, Washington's advantage. It is a 30-second timeout called by Lorenzo Romar. The victory at LSU on Saturday was the Huskies' first non-conference win on the road in 3 years. What Romar wanted to see from his guys today was the same sort of methodical approach against a lesser opponent that they showed in the second half.
Yeah, a lot of times it's hard. You know, you'll tell guys, hey, we got to get up against these people, but and the players will say it, but they don't believe it. And so a lot of times it's very difficult to have that approach. But hey, conference play is right around the corner. You better get tough mentally.
Defensively, they forced 12 turns in the second half at LSU, and again, this team is all of a sudden back up close. You know, a couple years ago in the so-called glory days with Roy and Robinson and that gang, they were forcing upwards of 20 turns a game. They're at 17 right now.
Okay, here's the zone. We got one camera on Appleby with a man just playing him man-to-man. You see the other 4 people basically trying to play a zone.
Stuckey chasing him all over the floor and leaves a little bit of space for John Brockman to come in from the backside.
And that's what happens. You know, when you take one guy defensively out of it, there's only 4 left. It's a lot different to play defense.
Brockman in double figures, scoring for the 13th time this season. Washington at 8-4 with a 3-game winning streak. Brockman working on another double-double. He's got 7 of those in the first 12 games. Brian Ammoning, big man, been dragging that pivot foot. They've been talking to him about that since the season began.
To look at that again, but looked like he moved his other foot twice. I wasn't watching as close as the ref, so he probably drug it.
4.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Washington has held Idaho State's leading scorer, Matt Stuckey, to just a 3-point field goal in building this 9-point advantage. Out of control, and Benoit Overton tips the basketball away, so no over and back. Stein, the Dutchman, saves it. A bullet pass inside as Demetrius Monroe makes the Huskies pay for leaving the post.
Well, 2 of the big men got halfway down the court, and the guards on the perimeter didn't realize that there was a man standing just clean under the basket, wide open.
Brockman got whacked, and they need a moment to attend to the Huskies captain, Brockman, the junior out of Snohomish, Washington. Play has been spirited underneath. Idaho State giving up a fair amount in terms of size, but the way that Joe O'Brien teaches them, you want to be aggressive, and they have been that, although overmatched here for most of the first half. And don't know if there's blood or not, but he's certainly just not feeling very well right now.
Well, I think he got a shot in the mouth. Again.
So Pondexter replaces Brockman. Overton has the ball batted away by Morgan. Stuckey leading, and the block. Boy, did you see Overton get up and get a piece of that? Oh, they're going to call the foul on him.
No, I think they're calling a technical.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that is the call. Will take time at the B of A. Happy New Year, Brian Davis and Bob Weiss at the Bank of America Arena. Washington closing out the non-conference schedule, which was dangerous last night. Montana State of the Big Sky on the road against Oregon State, trailing by 1 with time wasted. Carlos Taylor with the game winner over 2 defenders. Montana State gets the 60-59 victory in Corvallis. Again, Idaho State last season made the Big Sky Conference Tournament. Probably a step back year. Matt Stuckey, their leading scorer, 12 game, held to a 3-point goal. Stuckey 1 out of 5 from the floor this afternoon.
Yeah, he's having a lot of trouble. He's only gotten 1 clean shot off. Since Idaho State started out 1 for 11, they went 9 for the next 13 from the field, so they're starting to shoot the ball.
Tim Morris,
on a good basis.
Tim Morris showing a little bit of patience here. Shot clock down inside 10. Pondexter leaving for Morris. Count it.
And that was a nice timing move by Pondexter. He makes a dribble. He draws 2 guys to him. Gives a dish. Morris knew what to do with it.
Morris in the comeback at LSU on Saturday had 7 points. Defensive energy as well with 3 steals, as again the Tigers didn't score a point the first 6.5, 7 minutes of the second half. And Washington came back from a 14-point halftime deficit. Pondexter overplaying. Morgan bails out his teammate Tatum. Morgan starting to drive on Overton and is called for the offensive foul. They got crossed up. The other guy didn't know where he was going with the basketball, and it results in a turnover.
Well, they just completely take you out of your offense. All of a sudden you have to freelance. You're driving under pressure, and you've got big men that love to step up and get in your path and know how to take a charge. Tough combination.
You think? And Brockman getting worked over as he tries to get inside just off the block. Demetrius Monroe gets him. Monroe had a double-double at Idaho, including the game-winning layup with 4 seconds and change remaining. That one of their 2 victories for Idaho State this season. Again at 3-9. O'Brien is trying to work together a mix of sophomores and junior college transfers. And this is kind of one of those rebuilding years. And look at Morgan get it back, and the finish strong for Monroe.
And that's 8 turnovers now. It's funny, like you got one team putting a lot of pressure on, creating 5 turnovers. Then you got one team that's in a zone with a box and 1. And they're getting their hands on a lot of balls and creating turnovers just because it's a clogged defense. Washington's trying to make passes inside. They get deflected.
Denton gets it back as Morgan overplays it. May have gotten away with some body contact, but not a second time. Denton wincing, kind of grabbing his back. Keep an eye on that. Second foul on Morgan very quickly. Denton is going to go to the free throw line, and there you can see as he stepped inside, put on the brakes, and looked like something tweaked.
He looked like he winced in the backcourt too. I couldn't tell exactly what happened to him. But you mentioned he got whacked once. You know, when you get away with one, you want to back off a little bit, because a lot of times as an official, you'll see it and you think, oh, did I miss that one? So if another one comes quickly, they'll make it up. They'll give the other guy the benefit of the doubt. So you got to lay off.
Denton from the free throw line, 71%. Logan Kinghorn, senior out of Rigby, Idaho, another turnover.
And see, that's the same kind of pivot move where they they turn and move their opposite foot, not the pivot foot, twice. And a lot of officials sometimes just call that. Now, maybe he drug it too, but I thought he just pivoted.
Appleby puts a move on Stuckey, kicks it out to Morris. Corey O'Brien recovers, but then Morris strong to the cup for the lay-in. Morris, 4 out of 4, 10 points, along with 5 rebounds.
Yeah, he's playing great, and Dentman is wincing. You can see Dentman if he comes into your picture, you watch him, he's not running correctly.
I would have to double check this, but Dentman has had on and off some issues with back spasms.
Yeah, he's can't tell if it's a hip, leg, what it is.
Morris's second personal foul, and then out of bounds as O'Brien can't hang on to it. Dentman is in pain, but he gets enough in terms of O'Brien's windshield to force that turnover.
He can still get a steal. Turnover, not a steal.
6 turnovers for Idaho State. Washington 7 points off. Washington 8 turns. Idaho State 7 points off. Appleby gets a rub from Wallace Stuckey. Nice defense. Chased him all the way across and got in the way as Appleby turned to shoot. Inside the final minute now. Washington with a 12-point lead. The Huskies' largest of the afternoon. Idaho State has shown flashes. Dentman, look at that. Can't quite get it done. I think he was one body bend off there.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he plays second half. He is really struggling to run.
He's only taken 2 shots and he's missed both of them. I think you're right.
Yeah, with conference play coming up, you don't want a guy playing that's a little bit injured. You can either hurt whatever it is, or you run differently and you can hurt something else.
Kinghorn, the senior out of Rigby, Idaho, with another turnover as he takes the ball and tries to drive around Appleby. And 3rd consecutive turn now for the Bengals. They have 9 here in the first half. Washington will get a shot at the last shot.
And Dentman really should have signaled the bench. Coach Romar didn't see that he was hurt, because if he did, he would have taken him out.
Look at Overton, and Kinghorn got a piece of that, and then Benoit Overton earns himself a trip to the free throw line. Tough sequence here for Logan Kinghorn, who fouled out on Saturday against Northwest Nazarene.
Good quick drive to get a scoring opportunity at the end of the quarter. Excuse me, end of the half.
Overton 66% from the free throw line. Washington again a work in progress there on Charity at 60% as a team, but Overton totally knocks down the pair, and it's a 14-point lead. Double Irish for Washington as they pull away late in the first half to take that 39-25 advantage over Idaho State.
And Washington's got to feel good going into this. It's always good to score on that last play of the half. Gives you a little momentum.
College Hoops Northwest on the way back to start the second half. Down the road a bit on FSN. Washington with a 14-point lead over Idaho State heading into the second half at the Bank of America Arena in Seattle. Brian Davis along with Bob Weiss, Joe Wolfinger bringing up the rear as the Huskies come out of the locker room after a 52% shooting first half. They used the 3-ball well, and Idaho State did not get to the free throw line.
No, I thought the Husky defense did a great job of managing the pressure without fouling. It was amazing, no free throws.
See the offensive rebounding, the second chance points, not a one. One and done for the Bengals of Idaho State. John Brockman working on another double-double. Tim Morris is now in 6 games as a starter, has scored in double figures each of those 6 games. Off the bench, the sophomore Demetrius Monroe leading Idaho State as we start the second half. Monroe had 16 points and 12 rebounds, hit his first 8 shots against Northwest Nazarene on Saturday. So here's a young guy who has kind of been working into it. Only got a sniff in the early going the season, 3 or 4 minutes a game, and now he's starting to become more a part of Joe O'Brien's offense.
Well, we'll see if they make any adjustments on him second half. But I'm impressed with Morris's game. Comes out, does not miss a shot. you know, just a good all-around player. 5 rebounds for you in a half.
See to the right side of your screen, Artem Wallace, his defensive presence, along with Tim Morris. And don't forget Joel Smith out on the perimeter as well at both ends of the floor. And that has turned out to be a real nice starting combination. Appleby spinning away from Stuckey. Wallace calling for the ball, but they go the other way. Good rotation. The left-hander Smith starts the second half just like he started the first.
And again, they're coming out in that box and one zone, and that just means somebody else is going to have to do it. But if you penetrate against 4 people defensively, it's going to create a good shot. But you just have to, somebody else has to do it. I do not think he called back.
No, Austin Kilpatrick again averaged 25 points a game as a senior at Puyallup High School, where he was, by the way, a 6'5" point guard and also led the SPSL South in blocks. Kilpatrick banking off the 3-point shot that leaves him on the afternoon with, well, 2 3-point goals and 6 points. Brockman and Wallace, a good tandem in the post, and Brockman will shoot 2 here in the first minute of the second half.
See that there's a lot of holes in that box and one because everybody else, it makes it easy for them. But you got to get the ball to the right person in the right spot. Penetration is going to be there. The big people posting up without the normal defensive rotations in a box and one. But in the first half, it was effective. I'm sure they talked about it during the half.
Let's talk about this game as a bellwether or a barometer. You gotta like, if you're Lorenzo Romar and his staff, you've got to like the fact that your boys are 8 out of 10 from the free throw line. Also, at both ends of the floor, Bob, it looks like that they have put certain things in, and Appleby trying to get the backside. I thought he got all ball, but the call from behind Appleby is that he fouled Kilpatrick. But defensively, the Huskies stuck with certain things. I thought Romar called a couple of smart timeouts to settle them down, and at the offensive end of the floor, again, didn't always work out, but they stayed with things that they have been trying to accomplish, haven't switched up a lot.
Yeah, it's I'm just not sure how happy he's going to be defensively when he looks at the stat sheet, because one of his main concerns, you know, they always play with a lot of intensity. They're rotating great. But one of the things that he wants to get low is the defensive field goal percentage. And you're going up against a team that's averaging 40% from the field for the year, and in the first half they go 44. So the biggest defense has been the biggest difference has been the rebounding in this game.
Stuckey got a big scratch right on the neck. Again, it's been tough in traffic down in the low post. Time taken. Washington with a 16-point lead. The only points so far in the first minute, the 3-point goal by Joel Smith. Stuckey coming off of a game in which he had 10 points and 10 assists on Saturday. All his points came in the second half, but kind of set the tone for that third Idaho State victory. 7 assists and 5 rebounds in the first half. They're looking to see on the replay monitors whether the foul occurred during the shot. It is a non-shooting foul, so Stuckey's squared away, and Idaho State gets the ball side out with 35, a fresh 35-second clock.
So I'm guessing it probably wasn't a foul, because I thought he was in the motion when that whistle blew.
Well, yeah, well, looked up here like it was either a block. That was a travel.
They're really calling traveling closely today. Must have got a memo from the league or something.
10th turn for the Bengals. Washington has scored 11 points off the first 9. Here's Morris. Guarded tightly by Kilpatrick. Swings to Smith. Back to the other side. Brockman now off the block, working on Stein. He'll go again to the free throw line as Lucas Stein, the junior out of Meiderberg, Netherlands.
And again, that post up in that box and one, you just don't have the people around you and the normal spacing defensively to help out.
Brockman has been at points, rebounds, double-doubles the last 3 games. Had 15 and 12 at LSU. That's his first miss from the line so far this afternoon. Worth noting again that Bengals have yet to go to the line. And this is a team that has been doing a pretty good job the last couple of weeks of scoring in the paint, but they're not getting the penetration or production off the penetration. Brockman gives Washington a 17-point lead, largest for the Huskies this afternoon. Nice move by Morgan. Smith does a nice job of closing down Stuckey, then leaves his feet, but did force a tough shot. Here he brings it up to Appleby in transition.
I think Stuckey thought he had him in the air and he was going to get free throws by taking that shot, but Smith did a good job of avoiding.
Here he comes and helps on the double team. Smith looking inside for Wallace, goes one way, then puts the ball on the floor, goes the next, and Brockman with an offensive rebound and the putback.
If you're smaller than Brockman, you can't just box him out. You almost got to face box him out. You can't even think about getting a rebound. You just got to concentrate on taking Brockman out, let somebody else get the rebound.
His touch around the rim as the Bengals turn it over again. Brockman's touch around the rim is he comes so close. He times those putbacks, the offensive tips, so close to goaltending, but he's got it down.
Yeah. He's always right there at the hoop.
And no, on the floor before the shot.
Foul from the outside. Well, this game is right on the verge of just completely slipping away. Washington's it hadn't seemed like a big run game, but they just kind of keep creeping away.
Demetrius Monroe called for his third personal foul, and that's not good news as he led Idaho State in scoring with 8 points in the first half. Here, Brockman powering through the double team, and Kilpatrick actually had a hand on the ball, and still, big Brockman scores.
Chop that one up to determination.
Oh.
he was going to score on that play.
Got all 7 points for the Huskies in this run that has now put them up by 21 points. And this is what happens sometimes when a Big Sky team comes and plays the Pac-10. Here's another look at that power move by Brockman.
Just muscled his way through. Almost got double teamed, fought through it.
You're Idaho State, you're young, you're playing a lot of sophomores, junior college guys, and here's Kilpatrick bringing rain. The rebound to Joel Smith. You're playing 10 guys, you don't have a deep rotation, and sooner or later a team that comes at you as hard as Appleby and the Huskies do, sooner or later you wear out.
He got a rare touch there, came off a pick and roll, nice step back move.
Appleby with another three-pointer, his second of the afternoon. He has 6 points. Ryan Appleby has every video and every film that was ever made about his boyhood idol, Pistol Pete Maravich. And right down to the shooting motion, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe the shooting motion. I don't know about anything else.
College basketball on FSN brought to you by Banner Bank. Better ideas, better banking. By Joe's Sports and Outdoor, and by Dodge. Grab life. Ryan Appleby, a huge Pete Maravich fan. A thrill for him to play down at Louisiana State, where Maravich played his college ball for his dad, Press, before going on to an NBA career in which he averaged 40-plus points a game. And Bobby Weiss, that was without the three-point line. And Appleby said before the game, we were talking about that, and he said they figure that if they had the three ball before Maravich's final year in the NBA, you'd have had to add 10 or 12 points to that. The guy would have averaged 50 points a game. Wow. Not a bad thing to aspire to.
In college, yeah, especially in college, that would have been big because it's so much closer.
Appleby never played at LSU when he was at the University of Florida, where he started, because they were in the other division in the SEC. And the one time they did see the Tigers, LSU went to the University of Florida in Gainesville. Morgan looks inside Tatum. Stuckey pushed away by Pondexter as Washington extends the defense. Stein goes to work on the block on Wallace, turns, goes that left-handed hook shot, count the basket, and he'll go to the free throw line. Lucas Stein, his family, friends with Rulan Shaftinar, who you see down at Oregon State a little bit.
Saw him last night. Yep. Nice move. Little clever use of the elbow there to get around your man.
Saw him last night. That's why the extra large cup of coffee this afternoon for Bob Weiss.
That's right. I drove back. About a 4.5-hour little trip after the game.
22-point lead. Morris turns on the Jets and steps over Stuckey. Morgan, though, reaches in, commits the foul. That's his third. And so now you got two of your main men in Morgan and Monroe with 3 fouls, and you still have 16 minutes remaining. Pondexter, good rub from Wallace. Brockman into the paint. Boy, giddy up and drop another one on him, John.
He's getting tough now because he can hit that little jumper. So when he faces you up, you got to close out on him. And he can also put it on the floor.
19 points, that's his season average. He's also sitting on 9 rebounds this afternoon against the Bengals. He's averaging 11 a game. Stein forced to pass it back out. Artem Wallace, the junior from Toledo, Washington, with some great defensive presence, although good rotation leaves Morgan open for a 3 ball, and he nails it.
Well, they closed out like they normally do, but
hello. Appleby says, okay, I think I can do one better. If they were playing horse from beyond the arc, Appleby would have the advantage. That's his 4th 3-point goal. Check that, his 3 and 4 attempts, while Morgan is a paltry 2 for 2.
And Idaho State went back into a regular 2-3 that time. The first time they do, it only took about 3 seconds for Appleby to find the shot.
Well, against Northwest Nazarene, and Brockman reaches in on Stein. Against Northwest Nazarene, they played man the whole game because other guys were drilling it from beyond the arc. And this afternoon, Washington is 8 out of 14. Boy, football season ends, and the head football coach here at the University of Washington goes Grizzly. Tyrone Willingham with his wife Kim taking the action here at the Bank of America Arena. We go fast forward. FSN, your home for the most complete Northwest hoop coverage. Most Thursdays and Saturday nights. College Hoops Northwest wraps up all the action with highlights, analysis, and interviews. And new this season, FSN's Running the Break. We're going to show the outcome of an entire game in 30 minutes at the pace of a fast break. Check your local listings for all the late night, daytime airings of Running the Break on FSN.
5 minutes have gone by. Both these teams are shooting it up. 60% for Idaho State and 85% from the field for Washington.
You see the Appleby-Brockman combination. Those 15 points have been consecutive since Joel Smith started the second half with a 3 ball. Amaro Morgan inside to Lucas Stein. Morgan gets it back, steps inside Morris, then gets it back, loses it to Wallace. Looky here, says Artem Wallace. Washington with 21 rebounds to 11 for Idaho State. Had to double check that. Pondexter. A little bit long, tipped back. Artem Wallace he's playing some great basketball right now, Bob. May not be scoring a lot, but he's hustling at both ends of the floor and making things like that happen.
Well, that is his game. He's just going to play as hard as he can. He's going to go around and put people on the floor like that.
Ooh. And inside, the bullet pass from Morris to Quincy Pondexter. The question would be, LSU plays you a little loosely. Can he play against a tight defense the same way he did in Baton Rouge? He showed us a good flash there. The answer might be yes. He'll have his hands full on Saturday night, promise you that, when Washington State comes to town.
I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, man. Tony Benton and company ranked 4th in the country right now. 4, UCLA is 5. That's the first time that Washington State has ever been the highest ranked team in the Pac-10, and that number 4 national ranking, folks, is legit. We'll have women at Pullman, Washington and Washington State on Friday right here on FSN, and then Saturday night we've got the Cougars at the Huskies. Washington State last year beat Washington 3 straight times, including in the Pac-10 tournament. 5 overall now against the UW for Washington State.
And if you're wondering why Washington has the ball, there was an offensive foul as they lined up underneath.
13 turnovers then now for Idaho State. Brockman looking inside Appleby, and it ticks off of him. Actually wasn't looking for it. Brockman just trying to make something happen in a tight space. And the Huskies now with their 9th turnover and their first, Bob, of the second half.
Yeah, and nor should have Appleby been looking for that pass. He was definitely not open.
Long range, Cron Tatum is long. Tatum 2 out of 3. That's his first miss. Inside, he gets it back. Challenged by Wallace and misses again. Appleby pushing in transition. Overton gonna look around Stein, find Brockman on the backside, and John Brockman has 21 points to go along with 11 rebounds. Brockman with his 8th double-double of the season.
When you're in that box and one, you don't have the same assignments. It's something you're just not used to playing. Guys are catching the ball, and you don't have the normal rotations. That they're really beginning to find the holes in that defense.
It was 39-25 at halftime. So that means it's 22-8 right now. This second half starting out much the same as Saturday's victory at LSU did.
That's right, a repeat of that, and Washington is just scoring at a tremendous clip. They're just, every time down the floor, they're scoring.
FSN takes you inside Huskies athletics like no other network can. Tune in Wednesday as Lorenzo Romar breaks down Saturday's big matchup with the Cougs. Relive some of the best all-access moments of 2007. Huskies All Access Wednesday night at 7:30 on FSN. We've got college basketball following this game. Gonzaga is at home, and then the Sonics tonight against the Philadelphia 76ers. You're working double duty. I'm going to be home sipping champagne.
Well, I'll do that later.
Gonzaga and Utah. Boy, what a battle. You remember they were in here for the preseason NIT, and Brockman and Neville got to work on each other. That was a tremendous contest as Washington outlasted the Utes in that ball game. How about Pargo playing as well as he is, really stepping up big in his junior season for Mark Few and the Bulldogs. That one following this game right here on FSN with the Sonics and 76ers to follow.
You know, we mentioned the Washington State game coming up. I can't wait to ask Tony Bennett, okay, what is the difference in the feel going into the Pac-10 now as opposed to last year when you were in this position?
You know what's interesting? I actually did ask him that question because we had the Citadel game a couple of weeks ago, and I'll give you a preview. You can go deeper with him. He said, you know, really it's still just basketball and your routines are the same. It's when you're not in basketball mode. It's the request for national radio and television interviews. You feed that beast as well when you get to that point, and that, he said, is probably the biggest difference.
He's got to be overwhelmed with the this is it's very new to them.
But he got a chance to learn from his dad Dick when Wisconsin went to the Final Four with Tony on that staff a few years ago. So he's had a chance to study, and I don't know, as Pondexter gets a chance to go to the free throw line, I don't know if there is anybody, Bob, who is more methodical in his approach than Tony Bennett. Maybe, I'm talking about of all the guys that I've ever seen.
Yeah, he is just, I love him as a coach. I think his players love playing for him. I like his attitude. I think he is intense without being overbearing, so that the players know it, but they don't walk away feeling a weight on their shoulders. He can do it and lift you up, and he's got that. That's a rare touch.
Justin Dentman is back on the floor. Suffered a hip pointer late in the first half, but he will try to play through it. Joe Wolfinger now off the bench for Washington. Brockman and Pondexter along with Vinoy Overton, and O'Brien travels. Another turnover for Idaho State. Time is taken. Huskies at 28, their biggest lead of the night over the Bengals. Brian Davis and Bob Weiss at the Bank of America Arena in Seattle. We took a look at Tyrone Willingham, the Huskies football coach. How about notable alumni, athletically speaking? Marvin Lewis, the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, Stacy Dragula, the pole vaulter, and yes, William Peterson went to Idaho State on a football scholarship, graduated with class 72. That was at Bishop Kelly. Went to Bishop Kelly in Boise as well. Got out in 72. Then he gets to Pocatello and takes an acting class, and so much for the football career. And now you know William L. Peterson, amongst others, is Gil Grissom at CSI.
He's sitting on my TiVo waiting for me to get back to him.
Dentman just throws it up. Brockman starts a sequence that winds up a little bit ugly off the sideline, and with Idaho State in possession of the basketball, Overton says, "You sure about that?" But yeah, See if we can take a look at that again. Now, understand, it gets scrambled like that, and I would not want to be Gregory Nixon. Check that. Yeah, that's Nixon, the referee. And, yeah, he says, off of you, little fella. Joe O'Brien, meantime, loses another guy. Actually, same guy. Matt Stuckey is leading scorer out of Century High School in Pocatello. Stuckey to the bench. He got scratched in the neck, and now they've drawn blood. I think he got popped in the face, maybe in the mouth, got it in the chops. So they're dropping. He lost a tooth. Hope they found it. But Wolfinger goes to work on Stein, who gets underneath with a nice little move. And at 7-2, Wolfinger may just have been a little bit too tall.
And it was a nice move, albeit illegal. He used that elbow again quite extensively.
Great steal by Morgan. And the finish. Gets it right back. Knocked it away and then got it back on the run out. And Morgan with 8 points.
Again, Dentman's out there playing with that sore hip pointer. You just got to hope he doesn't injure himself for league play.
Pondexter for Overton. The rebound knocked away, and it comes down in the hands of the senior Logan Kingwood. Kingwood, O'Brien. We got Stein. We got Morgan on the floor right now with Kingwood. And Cron Tatum for Idaho State. This thing has sort of settled into that almost inertia. Washington holding on to that 24-point lead at the midpoint of the second half, and Tatum will go to the free throw line.
For a rare attempt.
Only the second free throw.
Only a second.
Not bad as a team, 70%, but their free throw defense has not been good. The other guy's shooting 78%.
No.
Who taught me that line?
That's wild.
Barry Collier, and then he was a Butler before he went on to Nebraska. Yes, we got to improve our free throw defense, and it took me a couple of minutes to catch that. So you were right on it. Brockman triple team, which leaves a couple of guys open.
Sometimes when you're struggling, you say, yeah, well, our free throw defense is pretty good.
Morgan's going to be called for the personal foul as he ties up Pondexter, and that's 4 on Amoro Morgan. Pondexter smiles as he gets a chance to go to the free throw line. 1-1 now, as Morgan's 4th is the 7th this half against Idaho State. Brockman comes out. Matthew Brian Ammoning, the Englishman, replaces the Mad Dog.
And he was not too happy when he went out last time. And Coach Romar was not too happy with him either.
But, well, he got yanked for once again being called for a travel down there on the block, and this time Morgan is going to get a chance to shoot, we think. And Matthew Brian Ammoning finished up at prep school in Connecticut. Got a great size, but he's comfortable playing at various distances. And he plays, he's got a little, as a freshman, you're not going to see it consistently, but Bobby's got a little bit of nasty to him. Morgan drops the first of the one.
Very athletic. He can block shots, and I like that about him. Only played 4 minutes against LSU, but you know, at times he's looked very good. I think he's going to be a good player.
He'd been playing 12, 15 minutes. At LSU was a little bit of an aberration. He'd been playing 12 to 15 minutes a game for the last couple of weeks. Came into the ball game averaging 14 for the season. How much better is this team with Ryan Appleby in the lineup the last half dozen games? Missed the first 7 because of the thumb fracture that he suffered in preseason. And Washington still working to pull Idaho State's defense apart. How about a little showtime? Morris to Pondexter to Brian Ammoning, and the finish.
That could have been and one. I thought he got slapped on the arm. Nice strength there to not let it affect him.
Officials have a plan to catch. Just kidding. Morgan inside for Monroe, playing with 3 fouls. Morgan playing with 4. Tatum puts it up. He'll go to the free throw line as he makes the shot and then is run over by Brian Ammoning. He fell, and then Brian Ammoning trying to get back, starting to go back toward the other goal, tripped over.
Yeah, I thought Brian Ammoning did a nice job of getting his hand up there, but then his follow through with the body just ran right over him.
Okay, here we go, guys. One shot. 1:25.
So Tatum +1 here. Still a 21-point lead for Washington. Huskies have led by as many as 28. Wolfinger gets the cleanup. Bengals are only 3 of 6 from the free throw line this afternoon. Pondexter, Wolfinger, Morris, Brian Ammoning, and Dentman. Morris a little bit long. The rebound tipped away to Justin Dentman. Dentman moving a little bit better now. He's playing with a hip pointer. Pondexter a little bit off balance and hits the side of the rack, but coming up the floor, Kinghorn is called for traveling, his 3rd turnover of the afternoon. Wolfinger.
And we have another bloodied elbow here.
Wolfinger is cut. Somebody needs to get the nail trimmers out, don't you think?
I'm not sure how he got that one. It's on his elbow, so I can't remember him hitting the floor. It almost looks like a floor burn.
Brockman comes back. You know, Wolfinger was the guy, as Lorenzo Romar started to set his starting 5 based on effort shown in practice, particularly defensively. Wolfinger was the first guy to get the start to break up what had been his rotation. So you give Joe Wolfinger a little bit of credit with kind of renewing the energy on this Husky ball club. Brian Ammoning catches in the high post. Brockman trying for the rebound. Brian Ammoning gets it, and on the way back up, he gets it again.
Very active. I thought it was a nice move. He missed a shot, but he got a nice move. There you see the finish of the first move. And you see good 2nd and 3rd jumps. Some players don't have that 2nd jump. The ball goes up, they're good at going up one time. But that pogo stick effect that you just saw there is not everybody has that.
Brian Ammoning now 10 out of 24 from the free throw line. He shoots that thing like Bill Lambier used to shoot his jump shots, just line drives.
Yeah, but Bill's one in.
But that one did this time. And Lambier was probably, what, 40% from the floor on the move with a guy in his face. Brian Ammoning knocks down a pair.
Bill could shoot the 3, though.
Hey, how about the second chance points? 17-0. Floater won't fall for Donnie Carson. Carson seeing his first action of the ball game. Matter of fact, he is from Detroit. Probably watched Lambier play as a kid. A real little kid.
Yeah, I don't know.
Here's Denman launching from 3, knock it down. Washington is 9 out of 18 beyond the arc.
The hip pointer didn't bother him. It only hurts when I pass.
Well, see, that way he doesn't have to drive. But hey, listen, beyond the arc, 32% last year, 29% this year. Went 4 out of 6 against Long Beach State. And since then, before he hit that one just there, had been 4 out of 15 from 3. So his rhythm a little bit off, but the Huskies having plenty in other places this afternoon against Idaho State. College basketball on FSN brought to you by Sterling Savings Bank, the perfect fit bank. Bob Weiss and the gang, Brian Davis in Seattle as we peek past this one. Still 7.5 minutes remaining, but Thursday beginning at 5:30 we'll have our Pac-10 doubleheader starting with Oregon State at Arizona. 5:30 for the opener on Thursday. Friday, the Apple Cup, the women's hoop, Washington at Washington State. Tia Jackson, the head coach at Washington, facing it Wazoo, the woman she replaced here at Montlake. June Doherty now at the helm of the Cougars program. And then on Saturday night, 7 o'clock, I think we'll have a few folks, a few eyeballs tuned to that show as Washington State comes to town to open the Pac-10 season against the University of Washington. I think that Joe O'Brien got tired of being hit with the 3 because they've gone man-to-man, and they still find the open guy on the backside in Wolfinger. Every Washington player who has played this afternoon now has scored, save for Justin Holiday.
I have to look at that again. I still thought they were in a zone. A regular 2-3 that time.
Oh, come on. Give me a little love, would you?
I can't. Everybody's at home saying that wasn't a zone. I mean, it wasn't.
They don't know what you don't tell them.
Oh, see, that's your viewers. My viewers, I respect my viewers. They know what I'm talking about.
Stein getting worked over. The ball knocked out of bounds. And now Joe O'Brien is going to go deep to his bench. Don Taylor steps out. Morris also sits down. Kinghorn can't get that one to fall. Washington with its 29th rebound of the afternoon against 17 for Idaho State. Tom Taylor, the redshirt freshman out of Nampa, Idaho, number 54, black in the ball game. A little bit late to help on Wolfinger, who is fouled as he throws the ball to the rack.
As he breaks the zone again.
Would that be a 2-3?
It was a 2-3.
Okay. You gonna quiz me on this later on?
We might.
Wolfinger. Okay, so now Justin Holiday comes into the ball game, the freshman out of Chatsworth, California. And if he can get on the board sometime in the next 6 minutes and 22 seconds, every Washington player will have something on the stat sheet in the points column.
I'm betting you will.
So Wolfinger now, that's only his 4th and 5th free throw, but he is 4 out of 5 on the season now. Got a nice stroke there. Here's Taylor. Stuckey double teamed, and Holiday gets in the way of that one. 12 to shoot as Bengals maintain possession.
Stuckey has not enjoyed this game. He's 1 for 6. He's played against pressure all night. He's always had the best defender right in his face, not letting him catch it.
He was their leading scorer 4 straight games before the Northwest Nazarene game. On Saturday, all of those were losses. At 12 points a game, their leading scorer for the season. He certainly needs some help. Bengals will go to Northern Colorado, spend a couple of nights here in Seattle, then open up the Big Sky season. Denton a little bit long. He hit a 3-point shot earlier. Overton kind of peeking inside, trying to weave his way, and Brian Hammond cleans it up for him. Denton rattles down his second 3-ball here in the second half.
Definitely a streak shooter, isn't he? When you say streak shooter, you look it up, there's his picture.
You know, he was 10 out of 28 since he was moved out of the starting lineup from the floor. That was coming into the game. This afternoon, he's 2 out of 6, so still by percentage not great. But the shooter has to shoot. You know, you just got to keep after it until you get on the high side of that roll just a little bit. Overton called for a personal foul. Here's Matt Stuckey, went to Century High School in Pocatello, and you can see that abrasion on his neck. He has been getting pounded today. Got a tooth knocked out, we think, here in the second half as well.
Yeah, it was. Not having a good day.
Kinghorn.
Husky. You were talking about a shooter having to shoot. Thing is Denton a shooter? Like Appleby is a shooter because he makes a high percentage. Denton is almost like a volume kind of scorer. And sometimes he'll get in a rhythm, then he wants to be a shooter.
And it's been hard for him to find that rhythm as Lorenzo Romar tries to find not only the lineup, but the starting lineup, but the rotation that works. And Wolfinger hustles, and Denton cleans that up, looks inside, skips it back out. Great rotation. Wolfinger can knock down the 3 ball. That misses long that time, much to the chagrin of the crowd here.
Oh, they were ready. They were ready to bring the roof down if he made that one. First of all, he went to the floor, and it takes a long time for him to get to the floor.
That's 7 feet tall, though, and Wolfinger is a 47% three-point shooter. Hello. More comfortable outside.
Frustration foul, trying to get away from her man down there.
And Kilpatrick now with his 4th personal foul, 10th team foul, putting Washington in a double bonus from this point on. 2 free throws for every common foul against the Bengals, who will fall to 3-10 on the season, pending their conference season opener at Northern Colorado on Thursday. Washington on the verge of its 5th consecutive victory after losing 4 out of 5, but we hasten to add those losses were to 3 ranked teams and Oklahoma State. So the Huskies wanted a little bit of confidence. They wanted to play methodical basketball at both ends of the floor, and they have done so, timing being everything, with Washington State coming into the building on Saturday night. Washington is the 4th Pac-10 team the Bengals have faced here in the early going. The schedule at Sagarin rates somewhere around the 20th toughest in the country. Gets a little tough now for the Huskies as the Cougars come into town. Number 4 followed by number 5. Get it done on the boards. That has been John Brockman's story tonight. His 8th double-double of the season and his 27th of his University of Washington career, and he's still got another 1.5 years to go. Brockman tonight getting a chance to watch this one from the bench as the Huskies have led Bob Weiss by as many as 28 points. And at this point, actually, check that, as this game sort of slept past inertia and into deep bench time. Now the Huskies have got it up to 31, but they were up as many as 28 before Brockman came out of the game.
Well, and they, you know, you talked about are the Huskies going to be able to come out with focus and determination, which Romar wanted to see. I think that's what he saw tonight, this afternoon.
You get in the habit, don't you? You get so used to everything happening at night.
You walk out of this game thinking it's going to be 10 o'clock.
Dentman, a little bit long. Just be careful driving home from the key tonight, New Year's Eve, huh? Actually, you'll be at the station, won't you?
I will be at the station.
So Gonzaga, Utah coming up after our broadcast. That ball game at the top of the hour here on FSN. And then we'll go to the NBA as the Sonics bring the Philadelphia 76ers into town for New Year's Eve.
They were trying to determine who that ball went off of. I think this is a scoreboard call here. Let's give it to the team that's down.
Yeah, you know what? Why not?
Because it went right off his foot. There you see it. Little Pele action.
Side out.
The one official started running down the floor, but the baseline official, who should have had the best look at it, didn't get to see it.
Kilpatrick tried to go up underneath and got rejected.
If Holiday's going to score, he's got to get an offensive rebound and put it back.
Overton. 8 out of 24 from 3 before this afternoon. He's 2 out of 4. So Benoit Overton, freshman out of Seattle, is working on getting it done. And yeah, I guess at this point, you figure that they might just try to set Holiday up a little bit. Maybe Overton will give his fellow freshman a little bit of love.
I think they might. Just a timeout. Coach might draw a play up for him.
You know, one of the other things that has happened is with the departure of Adrian Oliver, his decision to transfer from the program, maybe not necessarily a huge impact, but it's one less decision for Romar and his group to make in terms of the rotation.
Yeah, it does. It does. It helps. I'll tell you where it helps. It doesn't necessarily help the coach that much, although, yeah, But what it does is it gives the other players more confidence. You're not looking over your shoulder at, am I going to get playing time? There's all of a sudden a little more to go around to everybody.
Brian Ammoning in the trees and is slapped on the wrist as he goes to the rack. So Matthew Brian Ammoning, who, by the way, did look over to see if Holiday was open on the far side. Ammoning will go to the free throw line as the freshman Taylor commits the foul.
Well, according to the stat sheet, Holiday can go after this one.
Well, if you can get inside of Taylor.
He did.
Oh. But he did get inside of him. The rebound came long. Oh, well. Washington looking for a margin of victory. Nearly. Well, could wind up being close to 40 points. It's already at 30 plus. Holiday is double teamed, so he won't get it. They opened the season with a 41-point victory over New Jersey Tech. Dentman for Overton. Up. Brian Ammoning getting to work off the block. Holiday, boy, he's been open just a little bit.
Yeah, Dentman overlooked it.
Here, come on, right here.
I'm open. He's watching Dentman drive, but see the players, they probably don't realize that he's the only one that hasn't scored.
Yeah, that's all right. He'll get his chance. Kilpatrick, the sophomore out of Puyallup High School, has fouled out on that play, and Brian Ammoning a little bit short. 2 out of 5 from the free throw line. 4 points and 5 rebounds for Brian Ammoning, and I should have just kept my mouth shut about his free throw touch because he'd made a couple and has not been able to hit it since.
That was a tough one. That was an in and outer. Good. He's got a soft touch.
Just those little things that true freshmen find that they've got to work on. Morgan, Taylor, Carson, rotating to O'Brien, and Vinoy Overton has the rebound taken away from him. Over and back.
That's an over and back violation, Washington basketball.
17 turnovers. Washington with 18 points off those turnovers. Huskies have given it up 10 times, only twice here in the second half, and only 9 total points off those turnovers, only 2 since intermission.
He's not going to score with a pass like that.
Did the right thing, though.
Oh, here he comes. Oh!
Yeah, you ought to be sitting over in the student section.
I'm going to stand up.
Holiday has only played now in 9 games. He gets. This is what happens. You know, this is what your numbers look like when you're a freshman at a program like Washington. 9 games, averaging 8 minutes a game, shooting .182 from the floor, 0 for 3 from 3, .6 is your scoring average. Overton for Dentman. How about the Showtime move that kind of puts the exclamation point on a big victory for the Dogs as they get ready now at 9-4 on the season to bring Washington State into the building on Saturday night.
And my prediction that Holiday would score goes down the drain. See, there's an you learn something from that. Never bet with your heart. I wanted him to succeed, but
0.6 of a point a game. That'll change as he goes down the highway here with Lorenzo Romar coming up next on FSN. Gonzaga and Utah. Bulldogs beaten here in Seattle by Tennessee. They gave the store away, points off of turnovers. Tennessee had 19 points off turnovers in the first half of that ball game on Saturday afternoon at Key Arena. Here at the Bank of America Arena, it's going to be a 32-point victory for Washington, with the Cougars of Washington State coming into town. Idaho State will open the Big Sky schedule at Northern Colorado on Thursday. But as Overton dribbles this one out, you can put it into the books Washington with an 82-50 victory this afternoon.
And Coach Romar's got to feel good about this one. They won it in proper style. Played hard, made their shots.
You know, you look at contributions by guys like Joel Smith, who only had 2 baskets today, 2 out of 6, but the 2 baskets were 3-pointers that started the ball game and started the second half. Washington led by beyond 32 as this one sort of got away from the Bengals, but John Brockman with 21 points and 11 rebounds, his 8th double-double of the season. 34 was the Huskies' largest lead this afternoon.
And typically they dominated the boards, which was probably the biggest thing. 19-33. Also, you know, turnovers. They had a lot of turnovers early, and then Washington only ended up with 10 for the game.